commerce media really has been a hot topic among advertisers. It's because it's really taking flight right now. If we think about it from retail media and technology, it's really hitting like this tipping point. And that shift that we have, that's the shift like within digital shopping, and then you pair that with some privacy changes and couple that with the traditional identifiers, has forced these brands that have to think in new ways and a way to convert, the consumer. But within these platforms, like this commerce is really sitting at that intersection of media exposure, the transaction that's really giving like a lot of these advertisers real time feedback loops on performance. And really what it's doing is it's increasing that full funnel impact. So this is where really the measurability combined with a lot of that massive shopper scale audience and that closed loop reporting is really one of the key reasons why it's like really exploding right now.
And is it unique in that way, in terms of the value that it brings to advertisers?
Well, I think the uniqueness and values, you're hitting the consumer in that full funnel and where that exposure is, like hitting the right consumer at the right point and right time, starting at upper funnel all the way down to conversion. That's where the real opportunity is.
What value does commerce media bring to advertisers in terms of performance and brand impact?
Yeah, so the value that the commerce media brings when we think about our advertisers, like focusing on the performance and brand impact, it's really that combination of precision and persuasion, right? It allows us to give our advertisers the ability to influence those consumers more in those like high impact moments. And if you think about it, really that closer to point of sale. So while we're using data to fuel brand storytelling and growth, you can also see that these retail media networks really can expand like more offsite, enter into video, and have more like premium partner publisher relationships while giving brands really a new canvas for like upper funnel messaging with lower funnel really being more accountable. So what it's doing is we're really collapsing that funnel that really will help our brands not only drive meaningful business outcomes, but it goes beyond just more like impressions and clicks. So it's driving really those business outcomes.
And with Cannes next week and commerce media taking center stage, as we've just discussed, what sort of conversations do you think will be most critical to the industry?
So I think a lot of it's going to be about the responsibility of that data collaboration in this first party world that we're living in. As retailers now become more like media owners and data partners, we really need to figure out what that framework is that not only helps protect the consumer's trust, but figuring out how we enable that at scale, right? Like, so topics like clean rooms and universal IDs and this like cross-platform measurement will probably dominate a lot of the conversation at Cannes. And the big opportunity here is really how we unlock that interoperability without losing control or transparency. So the reality is that identity right now is no longer like a targeting tool, if you will, but it's more like how we need to think about the foundation within our modern media strategy going forward.
And shifting gears, how is OMD leveraging data signals these days?
Listen, at OMD, we're using, real-time signals to really, like signals to use for intent or location and really to map, where the consumer is on their journey and trigger those, media moments that are a little more hyper relevant, right? And like, for example, when you're pairing loyalty insights and then you top that with some dynamic creative elements, that allows us to show up different messaging, not only to first-time buyers or versus like a high-value customer. So the way we're doing this too is we're integrating a lot of commerce and retail data directly into our tools like Omni. And what it's allowing us to do too is enabling like smarter audience segmentations and media activation based on real buying behaviors and not real proxies.
Looking ahead, and I can't believe we're already looking at the second half of the year. It's crazy. But how do you see commerce media evolving, and what are you telling your clients in terms of how to be prepared for that second half?
Yeah, so looking ahead and what should advertisers really be prepared to act on, in the second half of the year, it's really lean into it, right? First, lean into retail media, but really thinking it beyond like the search and display part of it. So as we think about that, it's particularly more what can you do in video and more of those like social integrations where you really can have that brand building meets commerce. So what we also say too and talk about is like really that need also on top of that to build that organizational readiness beyond the, you know, within the clean room collaboration or creative tailored for shoppable formats. But then we can't lose sight of building those measurement frameworks that then we can allow them to tie back to those incremental sales. So as commerce media kind of expands a little bit into those non-endemic opportunities, brands really should explore and show up contextually in those environments where they may not have considered before in the past.